Welcome back, all my aspiring mathematicians. Today we are going to learn how to find the inverse of a function. Before we get started, let's define what a function is. A function is a relation that consists of a set of ordered pairs x and y in which each x value there is a one-to-one corresponding value of y. You might recall when you were given a linear equation in the form of y equals mx plus b, such as y equals 3x minus 2, and you were asked to graph that linear equation. However, we can replace that y with f of x, and now we can say it is a function. So it would simply read as, instead of y equals 3x minus 2, we can say f of x equals 3x minus 2. A function doesn't necessarily have to be f of x. It can be g of x, or it could be h of x. There are notations, right, for functions such as we will say f of x, and for the inverse, we will write it as f to the exponent -1 of x. This is the notation that we would use to denote a function and the inverse of a function. Now that you know what a function is, let's get into our first example where I'm going to show you 4 steps that you're going to take in order to find the inverse of a function. First example is f of x is equal to 3x minus 5. This is written as a function, and step number 1, we are going to rewrite it as y equal, like a linear equation, right? We're going to write it as y equals 3x minus 5. That is step number 1. Step number 2, and we can say in step number 1, rewrite f of x as y. Step number 2, we are going to switch our x and y. So step number 2, we are going to switch our x and y in the equation. So we have y here, we're going to switch it with x, and we're going to switch our x over here with y. So we're going to switch, for step number 2, x and y in the equation. Step number 3, we're going to solve for y. So step number 3, solve for y. So in order to solve for y, you will notice that you have 3y minus 5 here on the left hand side, and we have x on the other side. And if we're solving for y, we need to get y by itself. So because you have -5 beside the 3y, we need to get rid of that. And in order to get rid of that, we are going to use the inverse of -5, which is +5. You remember this song, the Cha-Cha Slide song, and it says reverse, reverse. So we're going to do the reverse or the inverse of that. And whatever we do on one side, we must do it on the other side. So because it is -5, we must use the inverse of negative, which is positive, and then that we cancel out, and then we will have x plus 5 equal 3y. But we're not done. We are solving for y. Y is not by itself. Because y is not by itself, we need now to see what is happening to y. You will notice here that y is being multiplied by 3. And in order to get rid of it, because it is multiplied by 3, we are going to use the inverse of that, or the reverse of that, which we say that we are going to divide. So the inverse of multiplying is dividing. So we're going to divide by 3. And whatever we do on one side, we must do it on the other side. And that will cancel out. So now we are going to be left with y here, and you have x plus 5 over 3. Now we're not finished. All right, we did solve for y, yes, but there's a 4th step. And the 4th step is simply that we are going to now replace y with the notation for inverse, with the inverse notation. That is step number 4. And that inverse notation, as I told you before, is f to the negative 1 of x. Step number 4, now we are going to replace y, and we can start off first with f negative 1 of x equal x plus 5 over 3. And this is your final answer. And this is the inverse of your given function, which was f of x equals 3x minus 5. Now, as you should know by now, I usually give more than one example because variety is a spice of life. So let's get into our second example, whereby it is going to be a different type of function where you have to do more steps in order to achieve the inverse of that function. So let's get right into it. So our second example that we're going to find the inverse of is f of x is equal to 3x plus 9 over 2. We are going to apply all 4 steps that I told you how to write the inverse of this function. We have to replace the function notation with y. So it's y equals 3x plus 9 over 2. And the second step is that we are now going to switch our x with y. So we will now have x equals 3y plus 9 divided by 2. And now we can go ahead and solve for y. So we will notice here that everything on the left hand side, 3y plus 9, is being divided by 2. We have to get rid of the 2 first. So in order to get rid of the 2, we're going to cross multiply, and we are going to have it as, now we're going to solve for y, 2x equals 3y plus 9. But we're not finished, because you will notice that y is not by itself. We have 9 that is being added onto the 3y, and so we have to get rid of it. So now what we are going to do, we are going to do the inverse, reverse, reverse, just like we're on the dance floor, we're doing reverse, reverse. So now we have 2x minus 9 equal 3y. Once again, y is not by itself, so we have to get y by itself. So we are going to divide by 3, because if we notice here, 3 is being multiplied onto y, and we must divide what's on the other side by 3 also. So now we have 2x minus 9 over 3 equal y. And the fourth step is that we are going to replace the y with the function notation for inverse, which is f to the negative 1 power x equal 2x minus 9 over 3. Now you can also write this as f to the negative 1x, the function notation for inverse, equal 2/3 x minus 3, because you're dividing each part and you break it up or you separate it. And this could be your answer. Either one of these could be your answer. You can choose which one you like. As usual, there is another example that I want to show. This example is f of x is equal to x to the second power minus 4. And we will continue by switching out our f of x here and write as y equals x squared minus 4. We need next is that we are going to switch our x and y value, and we are going to get x equal y to the second power minus 4. But you notice that you have a minus 4 being added onto the y to the second power. You have to get rid of that. The inverse is going to be plus 4 on both sides. That cancels out. So now you have x plus 4 equal y squared. But y is not by itself. You have y squared. Y is being squared. You can go back and watch my video on exponent, and that will show you more about how to work with exponents and how to get rid of them. Those are the rules. Now, because you have, and I'm going to rewrite this as x plus 4, and I'm rewriting this for students who are not very versed in math. So in order to get rid of the exponent 2 right here, we have to now use the square root symbol, and whatever we do on one side, we must do it on the other side. So now the square root symbol is canceling out the exponent here. So once you get rid of the exponent right there, then you will end up with the square root of x plus 4 equal y. And we must rewrite this with the notation for the inverse, which is f negative 1x equal square root of x plus 4. Okay? And this would be your answer. I want to give a fourth example. And the fourth example here is if you're given f of x is equal to square root of x plus 5. So once again, write it as y equal square root of x plus 5. And please don't make the mistake and stop right there. It must go all the way to the end, covering the expression x plus 5. Now we're going to interchange our x with y. So now we have x is equals to the square root of y plus 5. And we have this as suggest for you to rewrite it, right? And when you rewrite it, now you can get rid of the square root symbol there by raising all of this to the exponent 2, and whatever you do on one side, you must do it on the other side. It's simply the same thing that you did here, and you can go back again and watch the video on exponents that I have. So now you will end up with x squared equal y plus 5. You're not finished because y is still not by itself. All right, you have 5 that is being added onto the y. So we need to get rid of it, and the inverse there is to subtract. And we will have x squared minus 5 equal y. The next step is that we're going to rewrite the equation here using the inverse notation, which is f exponent negative 1 of x equal x squared minus 5. And that is your final answer. So in conclusion, now that you know how to find the inverse of a given function algebraically, I hope that you will follow the 4 steps that I laid out, and that will help you to overcome any phobia that you have to deal with finding the inverse of a given function. Now, this is the algebraic method of doing so. I will do a video on how to find it graphically. Please don't keep this video to yourself. Go ahead and share it with others around the world so they too can know how to find the inverse of a given function. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and please hit that like button also and leave me a comment. And thank you for watching, and see you soon on the next video to come. Bye now. Cheers.